What's up, Sox fan? We're back with some more of the First Descendant. Now, we have to get into Hotfix 1.1.2 because there's been a lot of adjustments made with this patch, and you might not necessarily realize some of them. So I just want to go over these, kind of talking about how these are beneficial to the game, because I feel like overall, this is a really, really good hotfix. And this, I think, is actually going to help you guys with some of the issues that you might still be having, right? So let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. Now, first things first, the content improvements. So what they've gone and done here is they've actually removed a lot of the dungeon penalties that we had within the invasions. Now, the thing that I don't think some people realized about some of these invasion penalties is they actually kind of, in a way, actually cut your DPS in half, right? So if you were using, like, say, for example, here, when using general round weapon bullet cost +1, that means for every single one bullet you used, you technically were using 2. So if you had, like, say, a clip, like, say, 120 bullets, that means that you really only had 60. Right? So these types of things impact you a lot more than you actually think. I, for example, did a video where I went in there with like 171 bullets, but really I wasn't thinking about it. It's really only like what, like 90 something, right? Or 80 something, right? So that, of course, definitely impacts the combat and really how much overall damage you can do. So they removed that for impact, special rounds, high power rounds as well. When using roll, firearm attack, being reduced by 3.6% up to 10 stacks has been removed. Grappling hook, skill power, minus 43.6% for 30-second duration they removed. When using skill, movement speed, minus 15%, 30-second duration they removed. And when aiming, increasing or incoming damage modifier plus 2.7%. They've also removed that basically. So now also 2 HP orbs that appear in intercept battles now recover 25% of max HP instead of 20%. So this means that you basically now can, I guess, have more sustain, right? MP orbs that appear also, instead of restoring 13%, will restore 16%. So it gives you a little bit extra oomph, I guess, right? They lowered the difficulty of normal and hard Dead Bride. Now, I was kind of wondering why certain intercept bosses were being made easier. And I feel like once you get into the process of having to farm, like, over and over and over some of these void intercepts, because like for example, we were doing a farm recently where we were getting a whole bunch, I think for I can't remember which boss it was, but I forgot which boss it was, but I know that we had to kill that. I have like 100. No, I'm lying. I have like 200 or something amorphous for that fight, which is just so dumb. But you're going to be sitting there for quite some time, right? And as fun as one-shotting something could be, the faster you can do it, the better, especially because we're now talking about that being like a farm thing. And then even once you start getting into trying to farm external components and things of that nature, I guess it's not really all a bad thing to make that slightly easier so that you can get the, promised and really not even just promising, but promising sets that you need for your characters to be fully fleshed out. So I mean, hey, that sounds good to me. So they decreased the frequency of teleport while frenzy, which is huge. Decreased the range of snowstorm. You know what? Death Bride is a pretty annoying boss. Now I think about it. Yep. Yeah, there we go. So they decreased snowstorm too, and reduced the damage, which is pretty nice. They decreased the part HP of the amplifier. They lowered the difficulty of normal hangman. I'm kind of surprised about that because I feel like once you once you get your first like guns that you kind of want to start working on, hangman becomes really easy. Like hangman is definitely super easy. So I'm surprised they actually lowered that. Especially for normal difficulty. But let me know if you guys are just starting out. Have you guys been struggling with normal for hangman? Because I don't remember. It's been a while. So they greatly reduced the HP part of the charger, the object inside the mouth that attacks while frenzied. Greatly reduced the damage of Thunder Wave and the wave of thunder emanating from the center. And they greatly reduced the damage of the charging laser that he has. So basically, it seems like all the abilities basically on this boss have gotten reduced. The knockdown damage will not occur in a row when damaged by traps. Made monsters spawn faster in the extermination mission of the hard infiltration operation Echo Swamp Seed Vault, and lowered the required amount of the collection mission. So one thing I will say about what they've been doing with a lot of the missions lately that I actually really do appreciate is all the like the time gated stuff. They have been slowly but surely removing them so that it's more about like completing the objective versus like waiting for the objective, which again, when we're farming, we don't I personally don't mind the farming. It's just the extra time that you have to sit there and wait. It just makes it kind of feel a little unnecessary. So it is nice that they are starting to kind of remove those and they're paying attention to what players kind of care for and don't care for. And I feel like that's definitely one of those things where it's like, hey, I don't mind doing this mission 1,000 times, and I might be exaggerating here, but I think that the faster I can get that 1,000 done, the better, right? So that's just kind of my thought process, at least. Now, of course, with that, the data collection mission on the Heart Infiltration Operation Hagios, the old mystery has been changed to a traversal mission. Okay. And then in the Invasion Legion of Immortality, the maximum distance for feeding artificial brains to the quantum computing unit has been changed from 2 meters to 3.5 meters, which is a pretty significant difference. Now, added sniper monsters in the Fortress Defense Line Void Fragment mission to prevent simple macros. I keep hacking. So the escape menu can now be activated during the down but not out state. They changed the aim assist settings for controllers, which is, I guess, that's probably, I would hope, a good thing. So the default value is 50 instead of 80. And the maximum aim assist range for every weapon except sniper rifles has been changed to 100 meters. Damn, okay. Aim assist now reactivates faster when targeting multiple targets in a row. And then the minimal distance for camera rotate to trigger has been changed from 4 meters or above. Ooh, okay. And then weaken the pull strength of crosshair towards the center of the enemy. And then they decrease the duration of aim assist when trying to target another monster. So the directors go to say the dev team is aware of the feedback regarding aim assist and has improved the feature to further enhance the console player experience. Previously, the aim assist feature made delicate control difficult as the aim automatically turns towards nearby monsters to focus on the enemy's torso when you want to attack their weak points. With this improvement, the players with controllers now have more control over their aiming, while new players are given appropriate assistance. I'm not gonna lie, when I'm feeling lazy, I don't actually play with my mouse and keyboard. I actually will just turn on my controller, and yeah, it was really bad. Like, I will say, like, there's a lot of just whiffed shots and like shots hitting, like they said, the torso. So it is nice to see that they have made that adjustment, because that is going to be a huge part to keeping console players obviously in. I would definitely say we got to look at like enhancements and things of that nature as far as like compatibility for PS5s, and I think it was like PS5 and PS4. So I know there's some things they're still waiting for that, but hey, we got to start somewhere, right? So I guess that definitely helps. Now, what they've also done is they've added page 13 to the Season 1 Battle Pass. Crystallization Catalyst and Energy Activators have been added as rewards. I'm not going to lie, that's a pretty big deal, because that's basically them handing you the moneymaker on the Battle Pass, which, again, they're going to make that money anyway, because there's so many catalysts that people have to obtain for them to be able to say if they want to max out a weapon completely, to have all options available. It's like 50 catalysts, dude. Like, it's a lot, right? So them handing out a few ain't hurting them, promise you, especially as they continue to release guns and more Descendants. And what we're talking about on average is about 2. And then like later down the line, like for the base unit that comes out, their ultimate's going to come out. So hopefully, even with the transferring system that they end up implementing, that actually will be all great. But we'll see how that ends up going. But yeah, that's a huge W. Now they go to say to meet the community's expectations for further improving the value of the Battle Pass rewards, we temporarily added page 13 for the season Battle Pass for 1, while providing crystallization catalysts and energy activators as a reward. Even if you already reached season 96, you can still receive additional pages of rewards on page 13. The dev team is working hard to incorporate feedback from the community to further improve the game and provide more value to players. Based on the feedback we received during the preseason, we have improved Season 1 Battle Pass to make it easier to achieve weekly and seasonal missions. We appreciate your continued interest in the Season 1 Battle Pass, along with the Battle Supply Shop, where you can receive free rewards. Now, also going into the next thing here, Number 2, the ultimate weapons. Okay, so they've improved the base performance and unique ability of the ultimate weapon, Wave of Light Scout Rifle. So I'm actually pretty excited for that, because that's a gun that I've been working on. So this gun actually might be kind of nice now. So it decreased the recoil of the Solar Halo while increasing the firearm critical rate, increased the duration of the effect depending on the enhancement level. Hitting enemies while Solar Halo is active now creates dusk, inflicting Lunar Halo to enemies within range. Ooh, okay, so we got to see what that is. So firearm attack increases on hitting enemies inflicted with Lunar Halo. They improved the base performance and the unique ability of the ultimate weapon, Kingsguard Lance. Yeah, because this weapon was garbage. So yeah, I'm glad glad they did something with this. So this increased the base fire rate of King Guard's lance while decreasing the base time it takes to charge. Okay, that's pretty huge. You can now place up to 3 Guardian Lances, and the Lances automatically attack enemies within range when placed. And then the damage interval of the Guardian Lance is now affected by the fire rate. Oh, okay, that's actually pretty huge of the King's Guard's Lance. Increase the duration of the Guard's Lance depending on the enhancement level. Wow, okay, so that's actually pretty big. I gotta try this now because I actually have my max for no reason. Like that was one of the guns I just like farmed and wasn't even trying to farm it. I really wasn't. Now they increased the duration, increase hit upon hit, and damage range of the Guardian Lance, and the maximum possible increase in range being limited. Improve the base performance of the unique ability of the ultimate weapon Executor. Oh, that's got to be a big one because a lot of people actually really like the Executor. It just became kind of one of those guns that really only seemed to be effective if you were up close. And I mean like stupid up close. So they increased the base hip fire accuracy and aim shot accuracy of the Executor. Oh my God. So when the Executor exaltation effect is active, failing to hit all fired bullets will no longer decrease the amount of stacks. Okay, so that's actually a huge buff. So decrease the maximum stacks of the Executor exaltation effect, and firing the gun at maximum stacks no longer disables the ability. So, okay, that's pretty nice. So they increase the accuracy and firearm critical rate based on the adjusted maximum stacks of the Executor exaltation effect. Firearm critical hit damage and fire rate are also now increased. So the Executor exaltation effect at maximum stacks now increases weak point damage instead of firearm. Oh my God, this is gonna be melting. It has to. It has to. It has to, especially if you're getting up close. Like, you know, like how some of the like Void Intercept bosses, when they take a knee, they have that center like weak point. Oh man. And you take out that and blast that with the Executor. Man. So its firearm attack no longer increase when hitting enemies inflicted with electrocution. They improve the base performance of the unique ability of the ultimate weapon, the Peacemaker. Yes, I feel like this is a pretty big one because as hard as it is for most to get that gun on average, the gun didn't feel like it was anything that was super game changing. It felt okay, right? So the single reload for the Peacemaker effect is now granted when using a fusion skill. The skill cost of the single reload for the piece effect now decreases depending on the enhancement level. Increase the non-attribute skill power stack of the single reload for the piece effect. Improve the base performance of the unique ability of the ultimate weapon Escava assault rifle, which is kind of interesting that they buffed that. But you know one thing that I noticed, and this is just from like all of the years I've been doing this, it's easier to implement something at a lower value and buff it than it is to implement it when it's overtuned and descaling it. It always feels better for the game when something is buffed versus when something has to get balanced, like, or taken down, right? So I guess that kind of makes sense. So they decrease the maximum stacks of the voltage charge depending on the enhancement level in order to gain, or in order to grant the energy grenade effect more quickly, which is nice. Increase additional damage for shooting while aiming when the energy grenade effect is active depending on the enhancement level. Slightly increase the projectile size of the energy grenade, and then they increase the electric resistance decrease of the voltage accumulation effect depending on the enhancement level. So that, of course, is pretty huge. So now we have UI and UX changes that they've also made. I'm not going to go too crazy into that, but they did add a filter. Okay, I want to talk about this filter because this is pretty important. But the option filter now allows you to choose whether the items are excluded if they meet only one of the specified conditions or more than two. With this change, the current settings for the filter as all as junk will be reset. So please make sure to check your exclude from junk settings before you dismantle anything. So this is really important because it says for weapons, ultimate or higher, level 1 or higher, must be set to exclude level 1 ultimate weapons from junk. Once set, all level 100 rare tier weapons will be selected as junk. As the filter option has been changed from the select to exclude, make sure you check your exclude from the junk settings before you dismantle your items. Made improvements so that players can move between inventory and the map more easily, etc. Right? So they've made a lot of changes for the UI, UX, but this one to me was like a standout one because, again, I've had even some of the guys that I play with like dismantle like level 1 ultimates before. I have one in particular. Shout out to the homie Exo. He dismantled 4 ultimates by mistake. Like, it's so crazy because they didn't lock them. So yeah, it kind of sucks. But yeah, that hopefully will help that issue a little bit. So hopefully we'll see some of that as well. Now, they also changed it to you can immediately select the reward before you begin hard infiltration operations. So you don't start and then you realize that you never picked the right one. That actually is kind of a huge W there. So that's that. Now they have some bug fixes as well. So basically they fixed the issue where it automatically will switch to track items tab upon entering the research screen if there are completed or in progress research items. I think another one here is they fixed the issue when trying to equip a module when the saga type is changed. It could incorrectly display accumulated applied values. That was something I was seeing personally. So that actually should make, I guess now everything, it should be calculated or at least showing it applied correctly. So hopefully that's the case, right? Now they fixed a issue, I guess where there's an effect remains if Ajax barrier is immediately destroyed at the time it is created. I guess that was a bug he was having, so that should be fixed. When Haley uses the Zenith skill, it is now affected by the movement speed of her current weapon rather than her unique weapon. This allows the arcade pacemaker effect of the inversion reinforcement to be applied properly. Now, if the max HP of an ally healed by Eugen is less than 1, the amount of recovery is calculated based on the target's max energy shield. And then they fixed the issue where the Kingsguard lance blocked enemy projectiles. So outside of that, that's basically mainly everything. There's a few more miscellaneous, but I'll have the link down below so you guys can check this out. I feel like overall, the things that they've changed in this hotfix are pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like they definitely have a whole slew of things to still tackle. But that just kind of comes with the territory of having such a massive game. You constantly have things that need to be adjusted, balanced, reworked. But nonetheless, I feel like they really are trying, right? I think that that's always the biggest thing. They're constantly trying to give us better, right? And again, to speak to like all the nerfing and stuff like that people are seeing, I will say that I feel like this is them building up to there being much harder content. And I think that as long as they communicate that, right, like this is what it is. Like we know that there's a new difficulty coming out. So I wouldn't really expect to see too many nerfs unless there's literally some aspect of it that's broken to where we just can't do it. So again, making it to where players are able to build up to get into that stuff, I guess, is always important, but you still want to have some of that hard content. And I think that that's what we are leading up to and getting. So we have to just kind of be patient, I guess, at this point and see what it is they're cooking. They're fixing so much stuff in this game. And I'm gonna be honest, I've been doing content creation for like 7-8 years now. And I've played hundreds of different games and I have not seen a game make this many adjustments and massive changes and fixing things and balancing things this often. Some of these things wouldn't even have happened if in like the first few years of the game being out, let alone like the first couple of months of the game being out. So again, a W to the team. Let me know how you guys feel. But that's going to be that, guys. Everyone, stay blessed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.